So this, I guess, is one of the stations out of Vermont.
Burlington, and talking exclusively with Channel 3 News tonight. My interview with the senator comes as he's being considered for a position in the Biden administration.
What I see my job is to do everything I can to fight for working families in Vermont and throughout this country.
He's still Senator Bernie Sanders, still has the same talking
Absolutely.
points, but there's a chance his title might change. Sanders is on the short list as President-elect Joe Biden's pick.
Now, I would hate to see him leave the Senate but I mean, there's a big if here. If the Democrats are able to win both of the races for the Senate in Georgia, Bernie becomes the chairman of the banking committee. And Bernie could do a hell of a lot of good work in the banking committee. If the Democrats don't win, I would definitely like to see him have a place in the administration, especially because the governor of Vermont said he will appoint a replacement that's a Democrat or an independent that caucuses with the Democrats. So he's already committed to that. And I think Bernie would make an excellent labor secretary. Now, there were a few people saying, well, Robert Reich was labor secretary, and he wasn't able to get a lot done. Robert Reich, at the time, was nowhere near as powerful as Bernie Sanders is now. So I think Bernie could do a lot of good inside a Biden administration.
To be the next U.S. Labor Secretary. For the record, would you take that job?
If I could fight to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, fight for equal pay for equal work for women, make sure that people who are promised pensions get those pensions. Is that something that I would accept if I could do that? Yeah, I surely would.
Have you had a conversation with Joe Biden about...
I like how he puts that caveat in there. If I can fight for those things, if the Biden administration doesn't put shackles on me to where I can't fight for those.
Becoming labor secretary.
I've had a conversation with Joe Biden, yeah.
About that specifically?
Well, I don't want to go into private conversations.
If Sanders becomes the U.S. Labor Secretary,
because I'm assuming I know what Biden's response was.
An independent to fill the seat until a special election is held.
But I was appreciative that he did say that he would appoint somebody who would caucus with the Democrats, and that's very important.
The makeup of the U.S. Senate plays a role, too. Senators must confirm Biden's pick, and depending on the outcome of special elections in Georgia, Republicans could maintain control of the Senate. Do you think the Senate would confirm you as labor secretary?
I don't want to speculate. We're a long way. I have to be nominated before I can get supported by the Senate.
If he stays in his position and someone else gets the labor gig, his immediate to-do list is short, but he says most important. Vermont has been good to you, mayor, congressman, senator. If you remain in the Senate, what will your priorities be specific to Vermont and Vermonters?
Well, first start, obviously, the immediate crisis we face is the pandemic. And that means that a lot of people in our own state.
And so I underestimated baby boomers and their fear of socialism. We kind of touched on it when you were in the Discord. And I underestimated how much sway cable news has over that group of people. I was certain that Bernie was going to win. Because when he was on Joe Rogan in October or November of last year, I went and saw the comments in the YouTube section, and every single one of them was, oh my God, I've been lied to about this guy. I'd listened to everybody else talk about what Bernie Sanders is, but I am with Bernie Sanders. These people who are more than likely leaning to the right heard Bernie Sanders and thought he was a breath of fresh air. And that's why Bernie's favorabilities always went up. The more you heard about him, the more you were exposed to Bernie Sanders, the more you liked the guy. No other politician had that. Hillary Clinton was the exact opposite. The more you heard from Hillary Clinton, the more you hated her. The more she was on cable news, the lower her favorability got. Bernie was the opposite. So that's why MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, they had the Bernie blackout. They didn't cover the guy for that reason. And it's not just the progressive liberals, man. It's people. One of the reasons why I think Trump got elected, and I talked about it last night, that like I understand people are tired of the performative bullshit, the political theater. They wanted Trump to come in and fuck shit up. Unfortunately, Trump was just you are exactly right. Trump was an opportunity for the Republicans to do everything they've always wanted while this madman distracted people. And he was fantastic for cable news. He was fantastic for Saturday Night Live. He was fantastic for moneyed interests. And that's what led to the Trump phenomenon.
Lost their jobs, they've lost their incomes, they've lost their health care. And we have got to pass immediately, a very, very significant COVID-19 emergency relief package to protect working families and small businesses. God knows how many small businesses in this state, great small businesses, are not going to reopen. And
at least 300 that took PPP funds
Second of all,
have had to declare bankruptcy.
Let us all hope and pray that this vaccine, whichever it may be, Pfizer or Moderna, whatever it may be, is out as quickly as possible. And it's not going to be as easy as people think to make sure that 300 plus million people are able to get the vaccination. So we've got to work very hard on that. We're going to need to help the states and the cities to administer that program. Then on top of all of that, we're going to have to rebuild our economies all over this country. In Vermont, that I've been heard, our family farmers are in very, very bad shape, agriculture.
And that's something I've been bitching about for years, all the way back to the Obama administration. Our infrastructure is falling apart. If you look up the number of bridges in this country which are in disrepair, it will blow your mind. And investing in infrastructure creates jobs. Investing in a Green New Deal and reimagining our power grid creates jobs. Hey, it's not like we don't have trillions. We print our own money. It's not an issue.